So if you are a student at Wrotham School or a parent of one, specifically in years 7 through 13, this week is huge.
It is. We are looking at the materials for the Wrotham Careers Fair happening this Thursday, March 12th. And I know the phrase careers fair can sometimes conjure up images of a dusty school hall and awkward conversations, but looking at the exhibitor list here, it's different.
It feels completely different. I mean, usually you get a few leaflets and a free pen that stops working after 2 days. But looking at the source material, this feels less like a boring administrative update and more like a festival of future possibilities.
That is the perfect way to frame it. The theme we are seeing across the board here, tying into National Careers Week, is own your future.
Yeah.
It's about shifting the mindset from, I need to find a job eventually, to, I'm building a toolkit for my life right now.
Let's start with the headline event then. Thursday, March 12th. The fair itself. I was looking at the logistics, and my first thought was, this is going to be chaos.
Right. Hundreds of teenagers in one room.
Exactly. You have hundreds of students and dozens of employers. But they have actually engineered the schedule pretty specifically to avoid that.
They have, and that is a crucial detail. Usually these events are a crush of bodies, which is a nightmare for an introvert or anyone who actually wants to ask a serious question. Wrotham has set up a split group system.
So it is not a free-for-all. They've carved out specific 30-minute slots based on year groups.
Yeah.
So year 10 kicks things off in period 1. Then there is a specific quiet session at the start of period 2, followed by the sixth form.
And then year 11 gets their time in period 3, and year 9 rounds it out in period 4.
I really appreciate that logic. If I'm a year 9 student, I do not want to be elbowing a year 13 out of the way to talk to someone. It just levels the playing field.
Exactly. It creates space. And space is what you need if you want to make an impression, because the roster of people attending it is incredibly heavy.
Let's talk about that roster. I was scanning the list of exhibitors, and it is a weirdly impressive mix. You have the local heavy hitters, but then you have massive global brands.
It is a absolute who's who list. You have Visa, you have Pfizer.
Okay, let's pause on those two, because I think a lot of students might walk right past those stands. If I'm a student who hates science, I am walking past Pfizer. If I am not into banking, I am walking past a Visa. Is that a mistake?
Huge mistake. And this is the real insight here. Companies like Pfizer and Visa aren't just looking for chemists and bankers. They are massive data operations. They are logistics machines.
So they need all kinds of roles.
Right. Pfizer needs project managers. They need legal teams, tech support. Visa is essentially a technology company. If you are interested in coding, cybersecurity, or marketing, those booths are gold mines.
So do not let the logo fool you.
Never. Ask them what they do beyond the headline product.
I also noticed the Army is there with their Be the Best campaign, and the NHS, again, huge organizations.
The NHS is the biggest employer in the country. The variety there is endless. But look at the infrastructure side, too. You have the Lower Thames Crossing project represented.
That is a massive construction project.
It is, but think about the skills required for that. It is civil engineering, yes, but it's also environmental impact assessment, public relations, archaeology even. Because you have to dig before you build.
And then you have the specialized local institutions. Epswich United Football Club is there.
Which is great for sports, obviously.
Right.
But you also have BAM for construction, CBRE for real estate,
Yep.
and then these really niche, interesting ones, like the Royal Forestry Society.
Forestry.
It is a huge industry, managing carbon, timber, conservation. And on the flip side, you have CRIPS, the solicitors. So whether you want to be in a courtroom or a forest, there is someone in that hall who does it for a living.
And for those thinking about the next step in education, it's not just universities either.
No, and that is refreshing. You have the University of Greenwich in Essex, sure. But you also have North Kent College, Bromley College, and then very specific providers like the Edge Hotel School and the European School of Osteopathy.
Osteopathy. That is bones, right?
Bones, muscles, holistic health. It is a very specific medical pathway. Having them in the room means you can ask, what A-levels do I actually need for this, instead of just guessing from a website.
Okay, so the room is full of opportunity. But here's the reality check. Walking up to a stranger in a suit when you are 14 years old is terrifying.
It is entirely intimidating.
The newsletter specifically notes that the top tip is to prepare. The people who enjoy the fair most are the ones who prepare. But what does preparation actually look like for a teenager?
It is about having a game plan so you aren't wandering aimlessly. The school sent out a guide to the careers fair and a challenge sheet with the email. Use them.
It mentions suggested questions to help break the ice.
Those are your safety net. If your mind goes blank, you look at the sheet. You do not have to ask complex questions about their quarterly earnings. Ask simple stuff. What does a typical Tuesday look like for you? Or what is the best thing about working for this company?
Asking what the best thing is about working there is actually a great face-to-face question. You will see pretty quickly if they are being genuine.
Exactly. And remember, these people gave up their time to be there. They want to talk to you. They are recruiting and building their pipeline. You aren't bothering them. You are the exact reason they are there.
That is a great perspective shift. Now, zooming out from the physical fair at Wrotham, this is all happening under the umbrella of National Careers Week.
Correct. NCW 2026, running March 2nd to the 7th.
And the digital side of this is really strong this year. There is a virtual careers fair that went live on day one.
Yes. So if you missed a booth or if you are too nervous to ask in person, the virtual fair is an amazing digital alternative. But the tool I really want to highlight is the BBC Bite-Sized Jobs that use collection.
I love this concept because how many times have we sat in a math class or a geography class and thought, when am I ever going to use this?
Exactly. This resource bridges that gap. It explicitly links school subjects to careers, and crucially, it links them to salaries.
So you can see the actual payoff.
Yes, you can see, okay, if I stick with geography, I could be an urban planner, and that pays a specific amount. It makes the classroom work feel relevant to the real world.
Speaking of real-world pathways, we need to talk about apprenticeships. National Apprenticeship Week just finished, but the resources are still live. And I feel like the narrative around apprenticeships has completely shifted.
It is flipped entirely. It used to be seen as the backup plan if you didn't get into university.
Right.
Now it is often the premium pathway for the smartest students.
They highlight these apprentice story films showcasing the diversity of roles. You've got firefighting, engineering, broadcasting, and even zookeeping.
Zookeeping is incredibly competitive. Everyone wants to work with animals. A degree in zoology is great, but an apprenticeship where you have actually handled the animals, cleaned the enclosures, and worked with the vet teams for 2 years. That candidate is often more hireable than the graduate with just a textbook background.
You are building the network while you learn, and without the university debt.
Exactly. It is equal prestige now.
Let's pivot to some specific sectors that the newsletter highlights, because there are two that jumped out at me: gaming and the green sector.
These are the growth engines. Let's start with gaming. The newsletter highlights the BAFTA Young Game Designers Competition.
Now, when parents hear gaming, they often think distraction. But this is very different. This is a major opportunity for 10 to 18-year-olds. It is about designing and developing, not just playing.
It is about shifting from consumer to creator. Can you build a level, design a character, or code a mechanic? And the prize is a BAFTA award and access to industry professionals.
The newsletter specifically spotlights playground games. They are a UK-based AAA studio, AAA meaning the massive blockbuster budget games. It just goes to show how huge the British gaming industry is.
It is worth billions. It employs writers, artists, musicians, coders. It is a highly lucrative career path.
And then on the other side, we have the green sector, identified as one of the fastest growing industries in the world.
And there's a misconception here that green jobs mean you are planting trees or you are a climate scientist.
There is a session on March 10th at 10 a.m. featuring professionals discussing carbon footprints and sustainability. And the core message is that green jobs are in every sector now.
That is the real insight. Look at BAM Construction from the fair. They need sustainability experts to lower the carbon footprint of concrete. Corporate law needs environmental regulation experts. The green sector is a layer across the entire economy.
Okay, let's talk about something everyone cares about: funding your future. There is a scholarship listed here that is genuinely life-changing, the Stevenson Harwood Law Scholarship.
Yes, up to 5 students get £15,000 per year for a 3-year undergraduate law degree.
That is £45,000. That is freedom from a massive amount of debt for students looking to study law in the UK.
It is massive, but it is not just the cash. The scholarship comes with mentorship, insight days, work experience, and a guaranteed spot at an assessment center.
That guaranteed spot is the golden ticket. Getting your foot in the door at a top firm is the hardest part.
So if you are a bright student thinking you can't afford to be a lawyer, this is telling you yes, you can.
There are also great resources for younger students and activists. The Canon Young Champion of the Year Awards are open for 9 to 21-year-olds campaigning for social or environmental causes. It is sponsored by Canon EMEA and free to enter.
And for the STEM students, there is Catalyst magazine for 14 to 19-year-olds, which bridges the gap between school science and real-world research. Plus, Next, tech girls helping years 10 through 13 find work experience.
Speaking of bridging gaps, I want to highlight the job of the week. Art conservator. It sounds like a fascinating blend of science, art, and history.
This is my favorite part of the stack this week. An art conservator analyzes, stabilizes, and repairs artifacts. You need to understand the molecular structure of the paint, which means you need chemistry. You need the steady hand of an artist and the historical knowledge of the era.
It perfectly proves how school subjects combine into a specific niche career. You need chemistry A level for this, which would surprise a lot of people.
It gives the subject matter a real purpose.
Before we wrap up, we have to hit the admin corner. It is essential. We have new minimum wage rates coming in April 2026.
This is vital if you are entering the workforce. Knowing your worth is part of the job.
The national living wage for 21 and over is going to £12.71. The 18 to 20 rate is £10.85, and the 16 to 17 rate is £8 exactly.
Check your payslips in April.
And finally, instructions for logging Work Experience WEX on the Moresby platform. Students need to log in with their school email, go to Progress, then Work Experience, and click Add Placement.
But the key reminder here is to use the printable form. Take it to the employer, get the info written down, and then input it into the system later. It is much more professional.
Simple but effective. We have covered a lot. The physical fair on Thursday, the virtual events, gaming competitions, and massive scholarships. If we synthesize all of this, the main takeaway is really just participation.
It is. Showing up is 80% of the battle.
So a specific shout out to you, the students. Be brave. Walk up to the stalls at the fair and ask questions.
I want to leave everyone with a thought about those green sector and gaming roles we discussed. We often ask students what they want to be. But with industries changing this fast, the better question might be, what problems do you want to solve?
That is a brilliant reframing. Solve a problem, build a career. So, check your specific time slot for the fair, get your questions ready, and go own your future. Thanks for joining our deep dive today.